The Eagles' weekend at the NFL Combine was as good as they could have hoped, because two of their top free agent targets just got a lot cheaper. Let's hear about Jaelan Phillips. He's still priority number one, but he's not going down without a fight. Oh, the Birds just made a very underrated move, but there's another one out there I can't help but explore. I'm Thomas Mott. This is the Thomas Mott Show. Well, the NFL Combine is officially in the Birds' rearview mirror. Although what happened over the weekend, it's great news for Philadelphia's front office, but not so much for Dallas Goedert and Reed Blankenship. Plus, there's a ton more free agency buzz already making noise this week as the Birds begin the month of March, all while Howie Roseman apparently had a hilarious response to the Patriots' first attempt to trade for A.J. Brown. First, though, since it's officially March and free agency is just around the corner, how about a Jordan Spector art giveaway, the Cooper DeJean Super Bowl Pick 6 art piece? This is one of my favorite ones that Jordan Spector has on his entire website, which I've linked down below if you want to pick one up yourself for a discount. But if you want to win this bad boy right here, drop a like down below and comment Coop in the comments section. I'll announce the winner on a video later on this week. Now, over the weekend in Indy, all the big names took the field to run the 40 and show off the skills that could potentially vault them off draft boards. And there was one safety who got a lot of praise in particular, and Oregon's Dylan Thieneman, who ran a 4.35 40, finished third among safeties in the 10-yard split, and second among all safeties in the vertical jump at 41 inches, making a lot of Eagle fans wonder if we're looking at the newest member of the exciting Whites. Which I know might be a little exaggerated there, but Thieneman, he wasn't the only rookie safety out there making Reed Blankenship absolutely sweat this weekend, as all four of the top safeties potentially in round one, including Caleb Downs, Mannion McNeil-Warren, and AJ Halsey, had incredible combine showings. Which seriously were so good because listen to the NFL Network's Daniel Jeremiah during the broadcast where he said, if you're a free agent safety right now, you had a pretty bad weekend.
Hey, Charles.
Yes, sir.
I got a text from personnel buddy. It said, tough day for free agent for safeties.
Yeah. That's a great point.
And of course, one of Philadelphia's top internal targets is a free agent safety. It's Reed Blankenship trying to get his first big contract of his entire career. And again, if this is true over the weekend and these rookie safeties were as good as we all thought, that means his price tag probably went down. Maybe his chances of staying in Philadelphia went up. Right now, Reed's projected contract is about 3 years and right around $20 million, or $6 million per year, which honestly, at that price, I think Philadelphia 100% will be interested. But if Reed tries to push, north of $8, $9, $10 million a year, Howie might just sit back and go, this is one of the strongest safety classes we've seen in the past 5 years. I'm going to hold out till April. And that's fine. Again, the rookie safeties look fantastic, but my only problem with this is that Philadelphia already has a very young secondary, especially on the back end, with a safety who is going into year 2, coming off an injury in Drew Makuba. And honestly, I liked Makuba, especially early on, but he hardly played because of the injury towards the end of the season and remains a massive question mark for Philadelphia's defense in 2026. My hope is that this weekend at the NFL Combine, it showed Reed Blankenship and his agent what exactly his market price is going to be, and that is lower than what he probably wanted, and that is good news for Philadelphia to go ahead and hopefully re-sign him. I've seen some people say that Reed is overrated, maybe a little bit washed. I disagree completely. I think he is a staple on this defense, a captain on this defense, calls the plays a lot on this defense when Nakobe Dean was out. He, to me, is a must-re-sign free agent at the right price. And again, hopefully this weekend and all these good rookie safeties are going to make sure it's team-friendly for Howie and company. And honestly, the exact same story I just said could be rinsed and repeated for Dallas Goedert over the weekend because, what do you know, everybody's favorite tight end prospect, Kenyon Sadiq, ran a faster 40-yard dash than both Christian McCaffrey and Bijan Robinson. And he wasn't the only tight end this weekend turning heads. Philadelphia also, of course, met with a handful of them, 5 so far to be exact. Sadiq was not one, but just like with the safeties, this group is so darn loaded. Sadiq, Green, Stowers, Michael Trigg, the list goes on and on. If Philadelphia loses Dallas Goedert, their replacement is right there for the taking in April. I think Goedert, unlike Blankenship, should be a little bit more concerned here about the play over the weekend because, as I mentioned, Philadelphia is young in the secondary. My guess is they want a veteran in Reed to go ahead and come back and be the leader, the big boy in the room. Whereas on the offense, pass catchers, A.J. Brown stays, Devontae Smith stays, you could easily get rid of Dallas Goedert, plug in a rookie talented tight end, and he probably does pretty good numbers. And that's not me saying I don't want Dallas Goedert back. I certainly do. Again, price is going to be the real factor here, just like with Reed Blankenship and everybody else, but he's getting closer to 30. And again, Kenyon Sadiq, Eli Stowers, and Sean Mannion's offense, I'm not saying they're doing the exact same damage that Goedert did this past year, but it's probably pretty close. But I guess you want some good Goedert news. Mike Garofalo on PHOY the other day, he thinks Goedert returns, but did admit he will have plenty of suitors in the open market.
I think he's back. There'll be a market. Yeah, there'll be a market. I mean, I think he could be back in Philly, no doubt. Hang on a second. But don't. I mean, there's work to be done. I'm not saying it's imminent by any stretch.
I mean, because it felt like, or again, that
he's going to get something elsewhere. So they need, and you're going to run that offense. You need tight ends, and they now they have none on.
I
think
but I was saying, I'm not closing the door on him returning at all. It's not like they've got this stable of tight ends or whatever. So I think they talked here. They're going to continue to talk over the next week or so, and there's going to be interest elsewhere in him on this tight end market, which is not. I mean, Pitt's got franchise is a different type of deal, but it's not the strongest of the free agent classes. So there'll be interest, but. I know he likes it there, and I know that was a big factor beforehand too as well.
What do you guys think? If you had to choose between Dallas Goedert and Reed Blankenship, you can only sign one of them. Who would you pick? Let me know down below in the comment section. I would pick Reed. Might be controversial, but would you take Goedert or Blankenship? Let me know down below. There is, however, I guess an option C, maybe D, F, I don't know, at tight end, as according to SI.com, they mentioned over the weekend the possibility of signing Zach Ertz. Yes, that's Zach Ertz to a one-year deal in the coming days. Now, first off, put aside all of your love for the Eagles legend that is Zach Ertz, because at a surface level, this makes sense. Signing a veteran tight end who was productive once again last season to a one-year deal to come in and mentor a rookie tight end in the draft, it makes a ton of sense. But then you dive a little deeper than the surface, and we forget Zach Ertz's knee basically exploded live on camera in Week 14 this past season, and while he says he expects to be 100% for the start of 2026, I certainly have my doubts. Ertz is also 35 years old, and I'm not convinced he still doesn't hold some animosity towards Howie in the front office for the 2021 trade to Arizona. Personally, I would take him back in this scenario if Goedert is gone, but I'm not sure he wants to come here, so let's put this in the very unlikely to happen category until further notice. But obviously, I'm like you, I'm a sucker for Zach Ertz, a sucker for what he did in Philadelphia, and seeing the 86 Midnight Green back with the Birds, it would at least make me pretty excited. Again, unlikely to happen. Now, moving on, and I say all of this first because it does sound like neither Goedert nor Reed is going to be Howie's number one priority. Still a priority, but not number one, as ESPN's Dan Graziano wrote over the weekend, quote, "The Eagles will attempt to resign Jaelan Phillips, who proved an ideal fit for the defense. They could also extend the contracts of defensive tackles Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter." And honestly, this makes sense, not just because I think Phillips was great last season after the trade, but because before the trade deadline move, we forget they were playing Josh Uche, Azeez Ojulari, and Patrick Johnson a bunch of snaps on the outside. And unless they want to do that again or roll the dice with a rookie edge, Phillips is their best bet to keep this defensive line intact and firing on all cylinders. But it's not a very strong free agent edge rusher class, so if you need a pass rusher, Phillips is probably at the very top, at least one or two on your list. And according to PHLY, Mike Garfolo, he said just that. He thinks Phillips is going to be the number one priority and come back, but it's going to cost a pretty penny. Much like with Reed and also Goedert, my hope for Phillips is that he wants to stay in Philadelphia and take sort of a Zach Bond free agent deal where, yes, it's a lot of money, but it doesn't absolutely reset the market. Because then Philadelphia could ink Jaelan Phillips, and then if Graziano is correct, they then re-sign Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, and create the extra cap space needed for Goedert, Blankenship, or anybody else. Now, moving on to the worst part of the day, and that is your daily A.J. Brown update, which is really only put out there by beat writers who want to feed WIP's mouths for another 24 hours, but there's a new update, and so here we go. And it comes again from Dan Graziano, who wrote, quote, "Teams have been contacting the Eagles over the weekend about a trade. But word is that Philadelphia's asking price remains too high. This lines up with what I've heard. They'd be open for the right offer, but would have to be really good. They don't just want to get rid of A.J. Brown or need him off the team for chemistry reasons." Wait a second. You're telling me that Philadelphia wants to get a serious haul in return for A.J. Brown because they don't actually want to trade him and he's not actually a locker room cancer? Wow, consider me absolutely stunned. And obviously, this is sarcasm because the only fan base that would be shocked by that report that just came out over the weekend is probably anyone who likes the New England Patriots. Because if you've been on Twitter the past 2 months, everybody in Boston is virtually guaranteed that the Vrabel AJ reunion is going to happen, which I always thought was ridiculous. But again, ESPN backed it up. Jerry Fowler added that teams have begun contacting the Eagles about a potential AJ Brown trade, again, over the weekend, but the asking price remains too high. With the Boston Herald also adding in the Patriots were one of those teams, but Howie wanted a, quote, unserious asking price. Right now is the time you go into my comment section and type, "Thomas, we knew this. Like, this is not a shock." And that is when I would reply and say, "I know, it's not a shock at all. We have known literally from day one that Philadelphia does not want to eat $41 million in dead cap money by trading A.J. Brown pre-June 1, and so it would take a king's ransom, first-round draft pick, and a second to get A.J. Brown to even budge his way out of Philadelphia. No one's offered that yet. Philadelphia is going to stay strong because they don't want to trade A.J. Brown unless they get an offer they can't refuse. Again, I'm not shocked. You're not shocked, but some people in Boston needed to hear this, and hopefully it'll start to die down as the days go by.
I don't know that he's gone, man. I asked. I lean more toward him coming back right now. I do. They're going to have to be blown away. That's the way I'll phrase it. Somebody's going to have to come strong to make it happen. And it's not just me, like, because a lot of times if you see that, it's like, oh, what's the team telling him? They want him to set the price, put that out there and let teams know. Nobody's that hasn't come from them, but it's come from the whole circle. His agent's here. I haven't talked to him extensively, but I told him that I got the sense that I feel like he might come back. He didn't tell me I was wrong. He didn't tell me I was right, but it's kind of where I am right now.
Finally, Philadelphia did technically make an official signing over the weekend. Not for a player, though, it was for a coach. Bringing in former Texans quarterback coach Jerrod Johnson to an unnamed position on Mannion's new offensive coordinator staff. Now, you should obviously recognize this name. We talked about it a couple of weeks ago because Philadelphia interviewed him twice for their OC job pre-Mannion. And to me, this move is so incredibly great because now Philadelphia has hired all 3 of their top 3 offensive coordinator options to positions on this team, meaning we're about to get a huge melting pot of fresh ideas from 3 very different offensive minds entering 2026. Plus, Johnson is a former quarterback, a former Frank Reich disciple, and had a lot of early success with CJ Stroud in Houston. The real kicker for me, though, is once again, Philadelphia is desperately trying to tell us, the public, the Nick Sirianni, Ken Batula style of offense is dead. A new era has begun. Welcome, Jerrod Johnson. Now, of course, say it with me. Anything can change. You're probably going to see new updates tomorrow and the next day and the next day. A.J. Brown could still be traded, but again, I don't think it's going to happen. What I do think will happen as we wrap up here today is that Philadelphia will go ahead and re-sign somebody probably this week. If you do not want Jaelan Phillips to hit the open market, March 11th, next week, you got to ink him now, and I think the same goes for Jordan Davis and or Jalen Carter. We'll see. Turn your notification bell, and also leave your comment down below, your Coop comment to enter to win this bad boy. But get ready. Free agency, it's here. We're in March. I'm pumped. I'm excited to see if Philadelphia can make a big splash that's not, a surprise, or that is a surprise, I should say. One that we weren't looking for, but actually happens and gets us pumped. We'll see. I'll cover it here on the channel. Thomas Mott. This has been the Thomas Mott Show.